So wrapping up the Halloween season, we have a 7-star Terrifier Hisuian Typhlosion raid coming up. I'm feeling relatively good about this Hisuian Typhlosion raid. It will have enormous amounts of firepower at its disposal thanks to Terrifier doubling its fire type stab moves, but at the end of the day, I still feel relatively good because it does not have much working in its favor for abilities. And on top of that, there are really good water, ground, and rock type moves to throw at this thing to make sure we optimize the amount of damage we do to it. Now, Hisuian Typhlosion is a little bit different from the Jotonian counterpart because it does have a little bit more special attack than Jotonian Typhlosion. I think the main difference is the original has 109 special attack, while this one does have 119 special attack. And this one is a little bit slower than Jotonian Typhlosion. I think it's a difference of 5 points. So this one is base 95, or the Jotonian Typhlosion is base 100 speed. But unlike Jotonian Typhlosion, Hisuian Typhlosion does not have much working in terms of its hidden ability, because in this case, it's Frisk as opposed to Flash Fire. Frisk just reveals the information of what items are being held by the opponents, and that's really not going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Because this is a 7-star raid, and we've always seen hidden abilities on the raid boss, I don't see them changing anything anytime soon as far as this goes. Now, potentially because Blaze might actually add a little bit of a crunch factor to the end of the raid, they might do something with that, because that would also give Hisuian Typhlosion an extra 50% boost to its fire type attacks when it hits a third of its max HP. Now, I do not realistically see that happening, but it is a potential option. Hisuian Typhlosion 2 might play out similarly to what the Jotonian Typhlosion 7-star raid did back in April, and that Typhlosion was actually a mixed attacker with access to both Earthquake and Play Rough as some coverage options to get around potential counters for it. So we might see a mixed option going on the Hisuian set. Now, that could be a potential thing to watch out for. But at the end of the day, the special attacks are going to hit a lot harder than the physical ones, so just keep that in mind. What we might see potentially too on this thing is we might see Calm Mind, because unlike Jotonian Typhlosion, Hisuian Typhlosion does get access to Calm Mind, which will increase both its special attack and special defense one stage. I could also see it getting Sunny Day to boost the power of fire type moves by 50% for 5 turns, and then spamming Eruption, which is the strongest hitting fire type attack that both Typhlosions get access to with base 150 power, and this move relying on having more HP, meaning there's going to be a lot more pressure at the beginning of the raid. But so long as you build a bulky special wall, we should be okay. Now, we might see Infernal Parade, which is the signature ghost type attack. Who am I kidding? We are going to see Infernal Parade. I am 99% confident we're going to see this. It is base 60 power with a 30% chance to burn the target, and if the target has a status condition, it does double in power. So probably something we're going to see, especially if we have something that is immune to fire type attacks. So let's talk about some other options that I do think we might see on the Typhlosion for some moves. And like I said, we do have the Eruption, Infernal Parade, and Sunny Day. I could see Will-O-Wisp as a means of potentially burning the target as well to help set up Infernal Parade. Will-O-Wisp does only have 85% accuracy, so we might see Lava Plume instead, which is a base 80 power fire type spread move that does have a 30% chance to burn the targets as well. So this would be a means of burning things while also doing damage. We could see Shadow Ball as some alternative ghost type damage. It's base 80 power with the potential of lowering the special defense stat on the target, so that could be a thing. And then for some raw coverage options, I could see Wild Charge to hit water types super effectively. I could see Play Rough to hit Dragon super effectively, since Dragon would be a relatively good option defensively to deal with the high fire type damage, so that could be a thing. We could potentially see Solar Beam as well to hit both water and ground types. Now, interestingly enough, we did not see Solar Beam on the Jotonian one, so that might be a trick they were saving for this Typhlosion, whereas it does have a little bit more special attack, and plus Sunny Day would turn Solar Beam into a 1-turn move as opposed to a charge move that would require 2 turns. We could see Focus Blast and Earthquake as well as potential coverage moves to get around rock types. With that out of the way, let's talk about some Pokemon that I think could be relatively strong for dealing with this raid boss. So I might be a little bit biased for this first pick because I have 2 builds for it, but I think Goodra could be a great counter option to deal with Typhlosion. Being Mono Dragon means it is going to resist fire type attacks. It also has an enormous base 150 special defense stat, and a 90 HP stat is relatively nice as well. We shouldn't need much investment into special defense to be able to live special attacks. They should just be bouncing right off of us, especially since we're going to be resisting fire and we're neutral to Ghost. The first set I was thinking of is going to be a damage dealer that is also going to play a little bit of a supportive role. I think Goodra can play in both a group as well as solo. If you play solo and you get the Tauros and Staraptor, their Intimidate ability is going to help deal with any physical attacks this Typhlosion might be packing, and then that way too, that base 70 is not as bad as it initially seems. What I was thinking of here is we can use Life Dew to heal up Goodra as well as the party by restoring a quarter of everyone's max HP. We have Acid Spray to soften up Typhlosion, and then that way we're not only lowering Typhlosion's special defense 2 stages while doing damage, but we're also building our Terra Charge. We have Rain Dance to undo any Sunny Day shenanigans. We can also boost the power of any water type attacks, which would be really good, especially if we're playing in a group, and especially too if Typhlosion doesn't lead with Sunny Day, but does something like what the Jotonian one did and use Sunny Day on turn 2. We could have Goodra override the Sunny Day with Rain Dance, and we can power up our water type attacks. Now, our main water type coverage damage option is going to be completely optional for what you want to do with this first one. I was thinking Muddy Water could be good. It's got base 90 power, and while it's at 85 accuracy, we can use the Zoom Lens item to patch this up. Zoom Lens here, so long as you move after the target, you get a 20% boost to your accuracy. With 85, that is going to put us up to 102, meaning we have a relatively reliable Muddy Water in the rain that can potentially lower Typhlosion's accuracy, which can be huge in any kind of a raid situation. So we have that, but we could mix things up as well. We could take Muddy Water out. We could go for Scald if we're a little bit worried about the accuracy, because we could also switch Zoom Lens out with a Life Orb. We could do that. We could also go Weather Ball if we wanted more damage than Muddy Water, because in the rain, that will go up to base 100 and then get Stab off of Terra Water, because that's the other thing I forgot to mention. This is going to be Terra Water Goodra, so we have Stab double powered Weather Ball in the rain, with rain naturally boosting up Weather Ball a 50% boost as well. So if you want to run Weather Ball, you could put the Shell Bell on here to get back a little bit of HP in addition to having access to Life Dew. That could be a fun option for Goodra. Now, what you could do too is you could also mix things up and go with an Assault Vest. And what you could do with the Assault Vest here is you can rely around Acid Spray to still soften up Typhlosion, but use Chilling Water to reduce the attack stat and therefore weaken any physical attacks coming your way with that. And then you can use Scald as your main damage dealing option, or you could use Muddy Water still. With the Assault Vest, I was definitely thinking it could be either or. You could run both, and then that way if you're willing to take the chance on getting that accuracy drop, you have it, and if not, you have Scald for the reliable accuracy. And at the end of the day, for both Goodras, what I was thinking of is the Hydration ability, and this might work a little bit better with the first set, but what Hydration does is it cures any status conditions at the end of the turn, so long as rain is up on the field. Now, this Assault Vest set, if you're going to run Hydration, you definitely want a partner that you're playing with online that has access to Rain Dance, and then that way they can keep resetting your hydration, and then you don't have to worry about Infernal Parade having its power doubled by getting a status condition on you, because I'm definitely seeing Typhlosion having access to spreading burns as possible, like as frequently as possible, I should say. But anyways, that's what I was mainly thinking. We run Hydration on both of these Goodras, so that's what I was thinking for this first means of dealing with the Typhlosion, is use Goodra either in a group or solo, and then you can use either a supportive healing role, or you can just go for the offensive Assault Vest set. So let's move on to the next one, which is going to be Heatran. Should be a great second choice to pick for dealing with Goodra. And what I was thinking here is it has a respectable base 106 in both defenses, 91 HP is relatively nice, and 130 special attack is going to hit like a truck. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to go max investment into our HP to bring us up to 386. We're going to use a modest nature with max investment into our special attack to go up to 394. And then we're going to use the remaining 4 EVs to bring our special defense up 1 point. We have a natural immunity to fire with flash fire, so we don't have to worry about any eruption shenanigans. And then depending on if we want to go with an offensive or defensive Terra, we can look into using either Terra Ground, Terra Rock, or Terra Normal. Terra Normal would give us a straight up immunity to Infernal Parade and any other ghost type attacks that Typhlosion might be packing, meaning Typhlosion wouldn't be able to use either one of its stabs against Heatran. Or alternatively, what we could do is we could go Terra Ground or Terra Rock to do boosted damage against this thing. What I was thinking of at the end of the day, regardless though, is we're going to use Metal Sound to try to soften up Typhlosion, lower it down 2 stages, and use this to synergize with the Throat Spray item. So when you use a sound-based move, you get a +1 special attack for the first time, so we could use the Throat Spray to increase Heatran's special attack, while also lowering Typhlosion's special defense 2 stages, and then we can use either Power Gem or Earth Power to deal damage to Typhlosion. Now, Earth Power has the nice potential of lowering Typhlosion's special defense 1 stage, so that could be relatively handy, or if we wanted to go Power Gem, we could just do raw damage. And the reason why I'm also looking at Power Gem is because we have Sandstorm as another alternative of undoing Sunny Day. Now, Ground and Rock both have a natural immunity to Sandstorm chip damage, so that's relatively nice. And if we wanted to go Terra Rock, we would also get a 50% special defense boost in the sand, meaning Heatran could get exceptionally bulky in a sandstorm, and then we wouldn't have to worry about what Typhlosion throws at us from the specially driven side. Now, the alternative to going Terra Ground versus Terra Rock is if this thing does have Earthquake, we don't have to worry about super effective damage. So that is something to keep in mind. But like I said, I think Heatran can be a great option to deal with Typhlosion. Now, the next one here is going to be Walking Wake. Walking Wake should be a fun paradox option for dealing with Typhlosion. It is naturally faster than Typhlosion, meaning we don't need to put any investment into our speed stat so that we can build around our special attack stat. What this will do in turn is take advantage of the fact that Protosynthesis will activate as soon as Typhlosion sets the sun, meaning we'll get a 33% boost to our special attack stat. So what I was thinking as far as EVs go is we go max investment into our HP to bring us up to 402, use a modest nature with 252 EVs to bring our special attack up to 383, and use the remaining 4 points into our special defense to bring us up to 203 points. What I was thinking here too is we can use the Mystic Water to give our water type attacks an extra 20% boost in power, and take advantage of the fact that this not only bumps up Hydro Steam, which also gets stronger in the sun by 50%, but it also bumps up Chilling Water a little bit, which will also help keep Typhlosion's physical attack in line. On top of that, we also get access to Snarl, meaning we can also lower Typhlosion's special attack. That could be a really nice thing here, because both Chilling Water and Snarl also do a little bit of damage, which means they also help build our Terra Charge. And if we also want to punish Typhlosion as well, we can always remove the sun and set Rain Dance, and then that way we're still gaining a 50% boost into our Hydro Steam from Rain, and on top of that we're benefiting from our stab as well, and Chilling Water is also not having its power reduced in the sun, so that can be relatively nice. And plus, once we go Terra Water and get our adaptability level stab ourselves on Hydro Steam, we should be able to punish Typhlosion greatly. So the last Pokemon I was thinking of is actually going to be Gargan Akle. Gargan Akle has great bulk working in its favor. It has a base 100 HP, 130 defense, and 90 special defense. So what I was thinking here too is we have a natural resistance to fire with the rock typing, but we also have the ability of Purifying Salt, which has the power of ghost type attacks while also preventing Gargan Akle from being statused, which means the only way Typhlosion can get a status on us is if it overrides our ability and resets our buffs and then manages to land a status move, which we could then undo with a Heal Cheer, which can be relatively handy for dealing with the Typhlosion that way. What I was thinking here too, as far as our bulk goes, we're going to go max investment into our HP with 252 EVs to bring us up to 404 points. We're going to go 216 EVs into our attack to go up to 290, and we're going to take the remaining 40 points into our special defense with a sassy nature to bring us up to 248. And what this will do is it'll make sure that the moves like Solar Beam and Focus Blast will just bounce off of Gargan Akle, especially if we set up the sand with Sandstorm. What we're going to do here is we're going to use Curse to power our attack and defense stats up, and we're going to use the Loaded Dice and Rock Blast to do damage. This will make sure that we're landing a minimum of 4 hits, which will put us up to base 100 power. And once we hit Terra Rock, this is going to be a minimum of 50 per hit, which means we can have a maximum of 250 if we land all 5 hits. This should be relatively handy once we get a few curse boosts under our belt, and we can use Recover to heal up the amount of damage that Typhlosion does due to Gargan Akle over time. And Sandstorm will also give us a little bit of chip damage at the end of each turn to Typhlosion, while also providing a special defense boost, meaning any special attacks are going to bounce right off of Gargan Akle, so enjoy the salt, Typhlosion. Anyways, between Goodra, Heatran, Walking Wake, and Gargan Akle, I think these are 4 strong Pokemon that can be used to counter this 7-star raid. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below, and let's get the conversation going.